That's funny.
Medicine ball, man, I'm telling you.
I don't know.
Tyler, you good? Tyler?
Is that the angle?
All right, let's go ahead and questions. You guys are good?
Not everybody at once now. I got out of an important meeting to come here.
I'll start with just Breezy. Like, Ashton breaks off a number of big runs to get you guys down inside the 5, and you guys didn't seem to flinch going to Breezy in that situation. What kind of earned that carry and that trust for you guys?
No, what really happened there is Ash was tired as heck, and on the play before that, we were in Wildcat, and we'd only practiced Wildcat. Ashton tried to take himself out on the Wildcat play on first down, and I was in the press box screaming, no, we're going to Wildcat, we're going to Wildcat. So he stayed in, and then he did one more run. If you remember, he had 3 explosive runs in that drive. So, yeah, he was beat. He was just tired. And Breezy came in, and that goal line play that he scored on, I mean, we've scored on that many times over the last few years. That was the Clydesdale. That's one of our go-to plays. So Breezy overall, that was the closest he's been to being 100% back all season. He did a really good job coming in there in the second half, and it was nice to see.
Well, I mean, at times it always seems like, 5 carries, but like, that's kind of big for you guys right now. And
Yeah.
Give 5 productive carries.
No, it's really big. And then not only that is that, I mean, I'll be honest, like him proving that he's back to his old self, that we can, every play is valuable. Who's touching the ball? So I'll be the first to admit that I've been hesitant when I've been calling more passes when he was in there, and credit to him. He worked his way back and he got in a rhythm, and now we know he's back. So that's good news for us moving forward.
That drive, just that whole drive, season on the line, the previous 7 drives, you really hadn't got anything going. Just to be able to get something going there when it really mattered. What's it say about this offense?
Yeah, well, if you think about it, that whole game, we really only had 3 possessions that were worth a damn, and one of them was a 2-player, the second when Ashton broke the 70-yard, 65-yard run. The one right before half, we made that 2-minute look easy. We went right down the field. We had first and 5 on the 5. We had a no gain, 2nd and 5. We got sacked, and then we had to settle for the field goal right before half. And then we didn't have another good drive, like you said, until the last drive of the game. That very first play of that drive when Ash broke it outside, I mean, he looked faster on that run than he had looked on any play since the 60-yard run in the first quarter. And, he had been out for a while. He'd been out, been a little banged up, so he'd been out for a little bit. So I think that gave everybody some juice that we're gonna be okay here. And, as I mentioned earlier, he had 3 explosive runs on that drive. And, yeah, we needed to do something because we had a rough day on offense overall. I mean, we got behind the chains too much. 1 for 10 on 3rd down, which is, by far our worst of the year. I think we're still like 6th in the country on 3rd downs, and to think you could go 1 for 10 and still be there is pretty amazing. But yeah, we got to do better. Penalties got us behind the chains. Missed assignments. We had just way too many individual breakdowns and or bad play calls by me, however you want to look at it. But we just could not get in a rhythm like we normally can.
Usually on 3rd downs, you're not good. There's a pretty common thread when you struggle. But for you, what did you see on 3rd down?
Well, number one, we had way too many 3rd and longs and not enough 3rd and mediums and 3rd and shorts. And that just goes back to what I said a minute ago about getting behind the chains. And not only did we get behind them, we got way behind the chains. Like we had, 1st and 20, 2nd and 15, and those are tough. I mean, that's not the way that we're built to play right now. And when we're ahead of the chains, we're tough to stop. But when we get behind them, it's a little bit different story. And so, we want to be in that 3rd and 5 or less. That's where we usually do our best work. 3rd and 6 or more, we haven't been as good, and we just had way too many third and longs.
What'd you see out of Roger carry on there?
Too many penalties. That's what I saw out of Roger. And God bless him for fighting his way back. It was great. It was great to have him. He played hard. He played physical, but there's no sugarcoating it. He had way too many penalties. I mean, tried to do too much, and he was wanting to make an impact. He will make an impact for our team, but he was not at his best in this game.
Maybe you're kind of hitting on it right there, Dirk. What kind of advice do you give a kid like that who missed most of the season and now, like, you know, he's trying to hit a grand slam every pitch with nobody on base, basically?
Yeah, that's well said. That's exactly it. And these guys want to play and help the team so much, which is an awesome quality. I mean, I'm not downplaying that at all. And yeah, right. Roger's an awesome kid, and he's a really good football player, and he was so excited to be back out there. But I mean, even in the NFL, guys miss that amount of time, you know, most of the season. They're a little rusty coming back. Like, you just don't come back and play the very first time at an all-conference level. And he is that good of a player. So I'm sure it'll be a lot better this week.
What did you think of Maddox the other night too? I mean, he kind of was in some tough situations at times too. But what did you think of Maddox?
You know, he like everyone else, he took his turns, as did I. He took his turn making mistakes in that game, but he also did some good things in the game. I think his first half numbers were pretty decent. Like I said, in that second half, we had too many third and longs. There was one third down in particular where, you know, we had what we wanted, and he just didn't make a very good throw. But, you know, he had to leave the pocket a couple times. Anytime the quarterback has to start leaving the pocket, then sometimes they get a little bit antsy and maybe leave the pocket when they shouldn't on another instance. But, you know, he was just kind of like everybody else. You know, we all kind of took turns making negative plays in that game, and, you know, he was no exception.
What do you value about Ben Dooley and the way that he kind of just goes about his day to day?
Ben is, first of all, Ben never shuts up. I mean, he is talking constantly in a good way. I mean, he knows so much. He knows so much about the offense. He knows so much about all the calls, all the line calls. And Ben is an excellent leader. He's very positive. He is tough as nails, excellent competitor. And, you know, he's been here so long, it's just going to seem very weird for Boise State offense to not have Ben Dooley for a 42nd consecutive season, you know.
You recruited him in 2000, right?
I did not recruit him. I didn't, but he looks like he could have been in that class. I mean, he's got a lot of eligibility. He's played a lot of ball, and he is an Iron Man for sure.
I know we've asked you a number of times about Cam Camper, but he's had 50 or more yards in 9 of 11 games this year. That's one of the more consistent totals in the country. What does consistency mean to you as an offensive coordinator when it comes to a pass catcher like Cam?
Yeah, just doing your job, being where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there. You know, being on time, being available to the quarterback, being able to win against man or win against zone. And then we talk to these guys, Coach D talks to these guys all the time. Make the plays you're supposed to make. If you're open and the ball's coming to you, make your play. And for the most part, Cam is very consistent at that.
This transfer portal era has been it's been so interesting, and there's good and there's bad, but there's also some good in it. And you look at Cam, and he uses it to find a place, and he stays healthy, and he has by far his best year yet. I guess just from that angle, when you kind of view the current state of college football, how can it be beneficial?
I think there's a lot to that, and I think Indiana is a good example. Like Coach Signetti, he said multiple times that you know, he knew a lot of the guys that he brought with him because he brought them from where he came from, and then Indiana targeted a very specific type of player. They wanted players with experience, and you know, the Boise State coaches, they had an in on Cam Camper because Luttrell knew him from their high school days, and so they knew Luttrell was able to tell him what kind of a player Cam was, and then he was coming off injury. I think you're going to see a lot more of that. I just think you know, coaches recruited guys. They went to another school, but they really like this kid. They know what kind of a guy he is. I think you're going to see that. You know, teams are going to be looking for guys that they know something about his character. What kind of a competitor is he? Those are the type of guys I think smart coaches are going to go after in the portal.
Seniors will be honours this week. Just what does this senior class mean to you?
Well, yeah, my case is unique because I didn't recruit any of these guys. I haven't been here with them the whole time, so that's more of a question for the position coaches and for Coach D. I know when I was the head coach, and I recruited the guys, and I was with them for 4 or 5 years. I teared up on every one of them. When I was the guy on the sideline and they're introducing them, and I teared up on every single guy because personal things of their personal journey. I don't know all those things about all of our seniors. I know they've overcome a lot. They've been through a lot in their career, starting with just like COVID, which how weird that was, and right now, hey, winning 9 games in a row is hard. Like, look around the country. These guys have done a lot to get Boise State football back to where it needs to be and where it should be. So I'm proud of all those guys for that. But yeah, I don't know all the personal. I probably won't tear up this year.
Spencer says that he's going to write letters for all of them. Did you used to do anything back when you were head coach, anything special?
Spencer is a way better man than me if he's writing letters to all those guys. I told you I teared up on each one of them. I'll get a camera on him, see if he tears up. I'll bet he does.
He says he will.
Yeah, he will.
The running back group, I don't know if it's been all year, but at least most of the year, they've come out to warm up shirtless. What did they do to convince you to join them on the late November day in Laramie?
That goes clear back to when it was 1,000 degrees at Georgia Southern, and they came out with their shirts off, and Mad Dog, he had on like a little bodysuit thing, and I was giving all those guys a hard time about it. And I said, hey, if you guys are gonna warm up like that, I want to see you warming up like that when we get to Laramie in November. And so every week I just keep reminding them about that. I keep reminding them about that, and I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know what possessed me at that moment, but yeah, that'll never happen. We'll never see that again, and just burn the footage on that.
Was it just a matter of, okay, you guys have done it all season now?
I was just fooling around. I was threatened to do it, and then they talked me into it, and that's just bad decision. We all make bad decisions in life, and that was one bad one.
As long as you get teary-eyed, spirit of Thanksgiving, what do you think for Dirk?
I am thankful for family and health. Like, that's what everyone should be. I've led a blessed life, and family-wise and health-wise, and very, very thankful for both of those things, and thankful to live in a city like Boise who supports our college football team.
You brought it up a minute ago, but the expectation and standard are so high at Boise State, and I was here at the end of like the 50-3 era, and if everything wasn't perfect, then it seemed like a cloud would kind of hang over a loss. That's kind of what happened after the Wyoming game. So for you and Coach like Spencer, like, how do you, guys been here that knows it, that's battled through stuff like that, like, how do you try to make sure that everybody's got the proper perspective?
Yeah, that's hard, and I try to be the voice of reason on that kind of stuff because when I left, I went to a lot of other places where we didn't win like we win here, and winning is hard. You got to cherish it. I was a little down myself after the game the other night, but there was other coaches. There was other coaches on the staff who have been other places, and they were all saying it. And would Mississippi trade places with us? Would Colorado trade places with us? Would BYU trade places with us? Of course. I mean, like I said, winning 9 in a row and 10-win seasons are hard to come by. We do have a tendency here to somewhat take those for granted, but we shouldn't. We absolutely should not.
I don't know if we've ever directly asked you this, but when it comes to Ashton, we're about 2.5 weeks away from Heisman ballots being submitted. Is Ashton Jeanty, in your opinion, I mean, probably know the answer, but should he be the Heisman Trophy winner this year, Dirk?
I don't have a vote on that. There's other fantastic players in the country. I mean, the kid of Colorado playing both ways. I mean, that is very impressive to play that kind of play and be productive. That's impressive. Ashton, no one can argue with his stats. I mean, Dylan Gabriel's thrown for 80 million yards in his career through, however many, 3, 4 schools or whatever he's been at, and there's some good candidates. People smarter than me are voting. I don't have a vote. I would vote for Ashton because I know him, but I think there's plenty of deserving guys, or a few deserving guys. Good? All right. Have a good one.